knows how you come across somebody once in a while you shouldn't have messed with? That's me.
I am not an African American.
You're an Oreo cookie. White in the inside and black on the outside.
I don't have an afro. I have an Amerifro.
Talking that idiotic stuff you talk about, I will slap you.
Go ahead. Make my day.
Black as the ace of spades, but 100% American.
Heard around the world by everybody and their mama. The Jesse Lee Peterson Radio Show.
Welcome to the show. I am Jesse Lee Peterson, uniting the races with truth. Instead of dividing them with lies, we're also rebuilding the family by rebuilding the man. Thank you for being with me. I have with me Jessica DelBalzo, abortion activist, writer from Flemington, New Jersey. Her work has appeared in RH Reality Chat, and she is the author of Unlearning Adoption, a guide to family preservation and protection. And good morning, Jessica.
Good morning.
I also have with me Tina Korbe, associate editor of hotair.com. And Tina previously worked for the Heritage Foundation on dozens of stories. Tina, good morning. Welcome to the show.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
Thanks both of you for being here with us, and I do appreciate that. Jessica, I read that you love abortions. You don't accept, I don't view it as a necessary evil. You said that I embrace it. I donate to abortion funds. You love abortions?
I do. I think that it's absolutely wonderful that women in our society have the right to control what goes on within their bodies.
Does it bother you that you're taking another human being's life when you kill a baby?
I don't view abortion as killing a baby. I view it as the removal of an unwanted fetus.
An unwanted fetus? Is a fetus a baby?
No, a fetus is a fetus. Once it's born, then it's a baby.
I'm sorry?
Once it's born, then it's a baby.
Have you ever had an abortion?
I have.
How many?
Just one.
And how was that for you?
It was a very empowering experience. I really, don't have any regrets about it. I knew I was doing the right thing, and I'm very glad that I had the opportunity to have one that, when I needed it, it was there for me.
Can you explain what that means? How did it empower you?
Having my abortion actually enabled me to get out of a very unhappy relationship, and it was something that I knew I was doing the right thing, so I felt good about it.
So you were getting out of the relationship with the baby or with the daddy of the baby?
The baby's father, the fetus's father.
Oh, I see. And you could not have gotten out of that relationship had not you had an abortion?
I would have felt compelled to stay so as not to have to share custody of a baby with somebody that I wasn't living with at the time.
That's amazing. Did you consider that before having sex?
I knew that if I got pregnant, I would have an abortion.
Really? And so how did you get to the point where you love abortion? It's like drinking a ice cream soda or something. How did you get to this point?
The point is that nobody goes into it, goes into life saying, like, I want to have an abortion today. Like, that's what I feel like doing. But I love the fact that it exists, and I have the right to have one if I need one.
And Tina, how do you respond to Jessica?
Well, first of all, I thought it was interesting that she said, no, it's not a baby, it's a fetus. And I just wanted to agree with her in the sense that we use different terms to describe human persons at different stages of development. So yes, it's a human fetus, just like it becomes a human baby, and then a human toddler, and then a human teenager, and then a human adult. So I think the question is the fetus alive, and is it human? And if it's not alive, why do you have to kill it? Why do you have to do anything to remove it? And if it's not human, then what is it? It couldn't possibly be anything else. But when I read her post, the thought that came over me is that if more people spoke up for abortion in the way that Jessica does, the debate would probably become infinitely easier because in one respect, all the discussion of safe, legal, and rare obscures the real issue. And we don't talk very often about whether that human fetus is in fact a human person. We talk about whether it should be safe, legal, or rare, or whatever. And as I've said frequently, if it's not a human person, why does it matter if it's rare? If it really is just a clump of cells, an unwanted parasitical thing, then why do we care if it's rare? But if it is, in fact, a human person, then it shouldn't be safe or legal. It should be illegal because it's the taking of a human life. And so in one respect, as I wrote in my post, my response to her, at least she's saying, I love it. I don't want it to be rare. I really don't think this is a human person. I think she's wrong. I disagree with her. But I again, I think it clarifies the terms of the debate somewhat. And I did think it was interesting just a minute ago, Jessica, that in your post you say, you love it and you're so grateful that everybody has this right, but then you said nobody wakes up thinking, I want to have an abortion today, or dreams of that being something that they do with their life. And again, I just say, why? Because if I have some virus or disease in my body, I do wake up wanting to get rid of it.
That's a good point. How do you respond to that, Jessica?
When I had my abortion, the day that I woke up and had it, I certainly did wake up thinking, well, this is what I want to do today. What I'm saying is that nobody actually gets pregnant thinking, I'm going to get pregnant just so I can go have an abortion.
Well, you said that you knew if you got pregnant, you would have an abortion, so it was already pre-planned in your mind to do that.
Of course I knew what I would do. That doesn't mean that I was intending to get pregnant.
But again, Jesse asked you this earlier, and this is something too. I also firmly believe that women should have, I am very pro-choice in the sense that I think we should be free to choose whether to have sex or not. And like he said, you can know that before. And then, of course, people will bring up exceptions of rape and that sort of thing. And I think the term of the debate really is, do you think that human person is a human person?
Jessica, you said that you don't like it when abortion activists say that they want to make abortion rare. And why is that?
I think that saying that it should be rare implies a value judgment and is, saying that there's something wrong with having one, and there's not.
And your response to that, Tina?
Right. As I said earlier, I think that if you don't view the baby as a human person, then I guess that is your only logical conclusion. To say if you want it to be safe and legal, then why would you include the third little word of that does imply the value judgment, as Jessica said. But if you take my position and you think it is a human person, then it shouldn't be legal.
Jessica, within the black community, every day, according to blackgenocide.com, over 1,500 black babies are murdered every day inside their mother's wombs. And 70% of Planned Parenthood abortion mills are located in the inner cities around the country. So there's a genocide upon the black child. Are you okay with that, too? Is that just fine? You love that? I'm
okay with abortion for any reason that a woman wants to have one.
Do you believe in God, Jessica?
No, I don't.
Oh, well, no wonder. That explains it. Tina, how do you respond to that?
Yeah, that does, in a sense, just because one of the fundamental awarenesses that I live with is just the fact that I didn't create myself.
Right.
And I think of the unbought, grace of life itself, not necessarily religion, but I know that I received my life. I didn't create it for myself. And so, I think of that child as also created by a creator. It makes a big difference.
It makes a big difference. Now the conversation, I don't know what to do with the conversation now, because if you don't believe in God, you're not going to see life in the manner that you would see it if you did believe in God. Jessica, you also say that women own their own bodies, and so they should be able to do what they want with their bodies. Is that true?
Yes.
And so how did you create this body that you own?
My own personal body?
Yes.
Well, my parents had sex, and the sperm met the egg, and here I am.
The problem is a lot of ladies such as yourself, Jessica, don't realize that you did not create your own body and that it doesn't belong to you and that you have a responsibility to have an appreciation for that body so that if a baby should come through that body, you can respect that life too. Why is it that you don't believe in God?
I have never seen any evidence proving that he exists.
Can you help her, Tina?
You can go the other way, too, and I can just say, well, I've never seen any hard and fast evidence that he doesn't exist.
Right.
And to me, creation and the universe itself is pretty compelling that there had to be some kind of creation, and I know you can say, you can have other theories, but there had to be a first cause, I guess. I believe in Thomas Aquinas' first cause, that there had to be something that set it all in motion, and that's something I believe is a personal God.
But Tina, I don't know what to say to Jessica at this point, because if she doesn't believe that there is a God, then she's not going to have the consciousness of or the love that people who do believe in God will have for an unborn child. What would you personally say to Jessica before we run here?
Belief in God does affect your views of all kinds of things in the political realm, including where we get our rights, whether they come from God or they're government given. But I don't know. Science also has a lot to instruct us about in this, and I would just submit to Jessica, I guess, that we are also a clump of cells. And so if she thinks that there's anything distinctive, or Jessica, if you do think there's anything distinctive about what it means to be human, I hope that you would even just reconsider slightly that a fetus, even though a fetus, might still be a human person, because really, if it's not, what is it? And people will say, there are ethicists already arguing in favor of infanticide. And so if we're the arbiters of when human life begins, that's a really, really scary thought to me.
Yeah.
And I hope that we're able to accept what science teaches us, that a fetus is alive and that we can use our common sense to know it's human.
Jessica?
I think that the brilliant thing about being a fully formed human person, actually living, breathing, and walking this earth, is that we get to think for ourselves. And Tina, if you don't like abortion and you think that your God is going to condemn you for having one, nobody on my side of this argument wants to make you have one. All we want is the freedom to make our own choices.
Well, if that's the case, Jessica, why don't you just have your abortions, but don't try to force us to pay for it, pass laws that insist that we accept it? Why don't you just stay in your corner and have your abortions, if that's all you want?
Because of the Hyde Amendment, the federal government does not force you to pay for anybody's abortion.
No, it does. It comes out of our taxes. Is that right, Tina?
Yes, and the Hyde Amendment, if you remember the entire controversy while Obamacare was being passed, Senator Stupak tried to include the Stupak Amendment, which would have provided Hyde Amendment-like language, but it wasn't included in the final bill, and then the president issued an executive order that can be overturned at any time, which means that we could have enormous taxpayer funds, and then also money's fungible, and we fund Planned Parenthood, and Planned Parenthood funds abortion. So whether it goes directly to abortions or not, we're subsidizing abortion.
Jessica?
I just think that that's entirely ridiculous. If you don't like abortion,
how's that
don't
ridiculous?
have one.
Are you saying it's ridiculous?
Because it's a part of women's health care. I'm saying it's ridiculous that you would fight supporting an organization that advocates for women's health and does all kinds of life-saving screenings.
What is healthy about an abortion?
It's not healthy to force a woman to continue a pregnancy that she absolutely does not want.
No, but what is healthy about having an abortion?
Preventing an unwanted birth.
Oh, wow. I now understand even better that, as I've always said, that this is a battle between good and evil. And if a person doesn't believe in good, which is God, they have to believe in evil, which is the devil. And now I understand even better, Jessica and Tina, that this is why this abortion thing is out of control, because you have a group of women who they don't believe in God. And that's why we have to stand firm and stop this. Otherwise, evil will destroy us all. Isn't that right, Jessica?
I'm not sure exactly what you're trying to get me to agree to. No, I don't think I'm evil.
Your actions are evil. To take a life of an innocent child is not an act of good, but an act of evil. Unless the mother's life is at risk, I can understand, since she's alive, let her live. Other than that, it is an act of evil. It's not an act of good, because it's not doing any good for the baby.
We already discussed that we have different definitions of life and what is life and what is not life, and I don't see
what do
a
you
fetus
really think
as
the human
life.
fetus is? I mean, how is it not alive? Why do you have to do something to kill it if it's not alive?
That's a good
Because
question.
if you don't remove it, it will become a baby. That's
At what
basic
point
biology.
does it become alive?
It's a human life when it's born.
Okay, you know,
Until
some
then,
people
it has
do really.
the potential to become a human life.
But
Why do you decide that's when it is? Why not when it's a year old? Seriously, there are ethicists who say it's not fully alive at a year.
Oh, I've read those, the recent article, and I'm not on the show to debate that today.
One final question, Jessica, I'll start with you first, and then last word with Tina. Barack Obama supported a bill that says that if a baby should come out alive during a botched abortion, let the baby die on the medical table. Do not help the baby to stay alive. Do you support that, Jessica?
Yes.
You do? What do you say to that, Tina?
Oh, to me, that's just heartbreaking.
Yeah, it is.
Anyone could set a baby. I just was holding a baby last night. It was a friend of mine, looking at her eyes, and if a baby comes out alive, at that point, by Jessica's definition, it is alive, and she's saying we should just allow it to stay on the table and die. And that, to me, is horribly, horribly sad.
Yeah, it's amazing, but it's just, as I said, we got to get serious. Those who believe in life and believe in God, we have to unite together, get more serious about what we are doing, because otherwise the children of Satan will destroy all of us, and not just the baby that's on the table, but those who try to stop it as well. I appreciate you ladies being with me. Very interesting discussion. Thank you for coming on, all right?
Thank you.
All right, Tina and Jessica.
This has been the Jesse Lee Peterson Radio Show, produced by Bond Action. To access the full version of this show, visit us on the web at bondaction.org.